welcome here, live from Guadalajara in Mexico. This is the third of my reports so far from the Mexico trip to the RVRRNT Worship Conference in Guadalajara in Mexico. Sitting here on the balcony of the room I'm staying in, rather noisy bird out there. Perhaps some ornithologist could tell me what it is, or maybe I might just go and shoot it. No, that wouldn't be good. But I just wanted to bring us up to date with a few things. The conference actually begins tonight at 6:30 p.m. But I had a great breakfast this morning with Andy Ezeilo, our other UK and Ireland representative here at the conference. He and I had one of those long breakfasts. We talked for about 2.5 hours, 2 3/4 hours, catching up. Though we're friends, we don't see each other too often. It's fantastic to get caught up on life, the universe, and everything. But I made a few notes on our breakfast conversation regarding worship and leading corporate worship. I thought I'd just share them with you at this point, and then we'll see how this develops through the weekend. But some things that we discussed that really matter to us both. One was this, that the helping congregations to sing intelligently is important. In other words, thinking about the words. What are we actually singing about? What do these songs mean? And connecting with that, not just musically, but theologically and intentionally in terms of our understanding. So the words really matter, and how do we help congregations to connect with the words? That was one thing. Secondly, diversity of style, because Andy in London and myself in Thames Valley and Watford and many of us in our congregations, we have a very diverse group culturally and so on. So how do we help the different parts of the church that prefer different worship styles or kinds of song to be together? How do we encourage people that don't say, I don't like this song, or even people in our worship teams who think, I don't like that song, I don't like that song. How do we get past that to be able to worship collectively together effectively in a spiritually enriching way? So the diversity, the challenge, and the opportunity that comes with that. Third thing we talked about was the need for us personally, and all of us as worship leaders, to be exposed to different ways of doing things. One of the reasons we're here and glad to be here is to see the way that they do worship in Mexico, or particularly in this church in Guadalajara, and to talk to people from other places. How do they do corporate worship? What do they find that works and why? So that we need to be exposed to that. Therefore, if we're just in our own congregations all the time, we don't go and visit other churches, perhaps even of other denominations, to see how they do things, we might get stuck in a rut. And that leads on to something else we talked about, avoiding being trapped in ruts and traditions. And traditions in themselves are not bad things, but we can get trapped in ruts without realizing it. How do we avoid that? Being at a conference like this certainly helps. But what else can we do, and we do as worship leaders across the United Kingdom and Ireland, to make sure that we don't get too stuck? Two more things. An awareness of how we use the Bible to support the way we do our corporate worship. Are we aware of our own prejudices, our own assumptions? Most people would say, well, we do our worship this way because, and we can point to one Bible verse or another Bible verse. But what about when people have a difference of opinions? How do we help ourselves and our worship teams and our congregations to understand, to use the Bible better in shaping the way that we do corporate worship? And finally, I think our resolution from all of this over our breakfast today was that we need to come into this, for Andy and I, to come into this conference with no preconceived ideas, to come in with a genuine curiosity and say, okay, this is different from what we're used to, but why do you do what you do? What here is helpful for us? Having well, I suppose really it's humility, and coming with an attitude of a learning attitude to this whole thing. So that's the fruit of our breakfast. Well, there was some fruit as part of our breakfast too, which was rather nice, but the fruits of our conversation. And so pray for us that we'll learn what we need to, and I'll bring you another update as soon as I can. Thanks very much, and God bless.